This is Eye on the Community, and I'm your host, Sean Anthony. And ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to reducing infant mortality, next to the mother, the most important person in a baby's life is the father. Today, I'm joined by Mr. David Fluellen, founder and CEO of Urban Family Development Center, who's here to discuss the role men play in making sure Black and brown babies celebrate year one and beyond. David and his organization are some of the boots on the ground working tirelessly to support parents, infants, and families, connecting them to life-saving local resources, organizations, and allies. Today, David is here to tell us more about his organization and its collaboration with CelebrateOne, the Urban Family Development Center, and how everyone, especially us men, can do our part to join them and CelebrateOne in the mission to reduce infant mortality and help babies and families thrive. David, welcome to Eye on the Community. How are you today, sir?
Man, it's a privilege, honor and a privilege to be with you all. Thank you so much for having me. Today is good. It's cold and it's snowing. Outside of that, no complaints.
Yes, sir. It's my pleasure. Your organization, the Urban Family Development Center, provides tools and strategies to families in underprivileged communities to aid and empower them to overcome poverty. Tell us more about the Urban Family Development Center and the life-saving work you all do.
Sure, absolutely. So, we have been privileged and honored, and once again, just want to thank you for the opportunity to come on and talk about the work that we've been privileged to do here in Franklin County. What we do is something that is near and dear to my heart. Coming from the streets of Columbus, I grew up in a single parent household. And like most single parent families, we moved around a lot. So Southfield, Livingston, Oakwood, Maine and Wilson, Mount Vernon. We even stayed with my aunt for about a year in Windsor Terrace. And so I've literally been all over the city. And I always said that once I was able to get myself together, and once I had an opportunity, I wanted to give back to my community. I wanted to be a part of the solution. And after having worked in the nonprofit space for more than 10 years and learning the ins and outs of the nonprofit arena, running an organization, developing and managing and launching successful programs, in 2014, the baby was born. And so I started Urban Family Development Center. We offer skilled trade training to those reentering society from the judicial system, getting out of jail, getting out of prison. From our work, we discovered that it wasn't necessarily that cats didn't want to work, they just didn't have a skill. They didn't have any type of experience. And so we began offering skilled trade training in 2014. And then in 2015, I was given an opportunity to work alongside of some amazing community partners such as CelebrateOne, the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, and Moms to Be, the Commission on Fatherhood, Columbus Urban League. And it's just been a phenomenal ride. It's been phenomenal.
That sounds outstanding, man. As men, when it comes to caring for an infant, sometimes some men think, oh, that's just a woman's job, right? Or we really don't know what to do sometimes, but because being a new parent can sometimes be overwhelming. And, I want to ask you, what role do we as men play in helping to reduce infant mortality? And how can men become more engaged fathers, particularly during the pregnancy and infant phase?
Yeah, so, Sean, a father's support can make a big difference even before a baby is born, right? So researchers have found that when a father is involved before birth, his presence can potentially lower the risk of infant mortality in the first year of life. And so the influence is particularly relevant to African-American babies. Studies also show that when a father is has a presence in his family, that impact as well can be significant in terms of early development, academic achievement, and the overall well-being of a child. And so that's why the work that we do with CelebrateOne and Moms to Be is so important, because dads to be helps men in high-risk communities by offering that education and guidance on prenatal care, maternal needs, family structure, and also infant health. And so we know that when dads are educated, right, their influence exceeds ours to mom, right? So they're gonna listen to us, but they really gonna listen to mom, or mom's really gonna listen to dad. And so by offering dad the resources, offering dad the education and guidance on prenatal care, maternal needs, and family structure, it increases mom's ability and mom's potential to practice the ABCs of safe sleep, making sure that dad understands that and enforces that with mom. So absolutely, we play a huge role. We play a huge role, more than I think we realize. And so again, that's why we're so privileged and honored to be able to provide the services and resources that we do, because we get to educate dad on what that role is.
Being a new parent can be overwhelming. You hear the cliche, it takes a village to raise a child. What role does the village play in supporting Black fathers? And also, how can other men and all of us as a community better support Black fathers?
Wow. So yeah, the village, right? I can remember growing up, and it was the village that kept us in line, right? So, I can remember getting in trouble down the street. By the time I got home, I got 3 whoopings and got another one when I got home. But that was the mentality of the village, and so I think we need that more. We need other fathers. I'm cool with another father who is respectable. I know for the most part that he's upstanding and right. I'm cool with him checking my son, checking my daughter, and getting them in line. Like, hey, I seen your son doing X, Y, and Z. I seen your daughter doing X, Y, Z. I'm totally fine with that. And I think we need more of that today, because you see a lot of these kids don't have respect for life themselves and for anybody else. And I think if they knew that more people cared about them, if they knew that more people were invested in them being successful, I think that we'd be in a better place. But the village, my favorite book says 1 can chase 1,000, but 2 can chase 10,000. And I think that we work together collectively to make a difference. And so again, I think the first thing that we need to do as a community and how we support that is to get informed, right? So my uncle would always say, if you knew better, you do better, right? So unfortunately, our babies don't come with the manual. They don't come with a how to raise us book or instructions. And so statistics show that some of what grandma, what auntie and them taught us didn't work. It was good. It worked for them at the time, but it's a part of why we're seeing the infant mortality rate the way that we're seeing it. And so we hear it a lot, even in our sessions. My mom did it. My grandmama raised me like that. I had toys in the crib with me. I had blankets in the crib with me, all of that. And although they did it, it wasn't right. And we know that those are some of the ways. So, we get to have those conversations with our dads. We get to have those conversations with our moms, and again, help them to understand that we do this together, right? And that's why I'm really thankful for our program, because we have created a space and opportunity for dads, men, Black men, to come into a space and feel comfortable about talking about how to be a better dad, and tools and strategies to do that. How to not only to be a better dad, but how do I be a better partner? How do I better support my partner during this pregnancy? So yeah, man, I can talk all day about this, man.
That's excellent. Your program sounds like it's set in place to, iron sharpens iron, and I love it, man.
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Fluellen, your organization also specifically helps families in underprivileged communities overcome poverty, from adequate housing and transportation to jobs and access to quality health care. The issue of infant mortality connects to a larger issue of racial equity. How do we begin to address some of the systemic barriers that lead to infant mortality?
Yeah, man. So, to keep it a buck with you, man, we fighting against the system that was designed to keep us out in the first place. When we look at the healthcare system and we see Black families, they don't get the same level of care as white families. We lead the numbers in infant mortality rate. Black babies die at twice the rate as white babies. In every other race, we lead those numbers. And it's not an accident that we hear. I'm glad that we're in a space now where we're talking about it. But we teach our dads and our moms that we have to make sure that we stand up and know and demand proper treatment. We teach our dads and our moms that if we see something going wrong or we don't feel comfortable with it going on, talking about the healthcare system at this point, to say something. That's why I'm excited about the work that we get to do with our dads, because we get to teach our dads what mom's body is going through, right? And we encourage dads to participate in those prenatal visits, go to the doctors, ask questions, make sure that you are not just there, but make sure that the doctor recognizes and acknowledges that you're in the building. We also teach our dads how to escalate issues. If mom is expressing that she's having some issues and the doctors or the nurses aren't giving her the proper care, we teach our dads how to properly escalate that. Don't flip out, don't turn over the tables and wild out, because that's not going to get us anywhere. But we teach them the levels and how you go, to who you go to. So if you talk to the nurse and the nurse ain't getting you nowhere, go to the nurse supervisor. If you're talking to the physician and the physician ain't getting you nowhere, go to his supervisor. Everybody got a boss. And so we really want to make sure, again, that we are acknowledging that there are these systematic issues when you start talking about housing, when you start talking about employment, when you start talking about social determinants of health, all of those social determinants, it's real. And again, we get to address these issues alongside of our partner CelebrateOne, who's amazing and has been a tremendous support and great community partner for us. But again, man, the systematic inequities in the workforce development is real. And we got to really start having a conversation about legislation and how we fix this. How do we make sure that this does not continue to be an issue that goes on and on and on, and no one does anything about it?
Mr. David Fluellen, man, what you guys are doing at the Urban Family Development Center is truly commendable. We got to let the people know, how can they get access to the great work that you guys are doing?
Man, you go to our website, www.urbanfdc.org. You can find us on social media. Everybody named Mama on social media. We on there too. So you can find us on social media. You can get old fashioned and give us a phone call, 614-817-1950. And we'd be happy to get involved with you all and see if we could provide any type of assistance.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. David Fluellen, for joining us today on Iron the Community. I'd also like to give a special thanks to CelebrateOne for its continued mission to reduce infant mortality and ensure Black and brown babies are alive, healthy, and thriving from day one to year one and beyond. But you know what, Columbus, the work doesn't stop here. As you just heard, to learn more and join CelebrateOne in its life-saving work, visit columbus.gov/CelebrateOne or call the CelebrateOne hotline, 614-570-3592. Also, make sure to follow CelebrateOne on social media and subscribe to the CelebrateOne email list for updates on events, resources, and more. Once again, I'm Sean Anthony, and remember, keep your baby safe by sharing the room, never the bed. Let's get to work, Columbus. Thank you.